Guest anchor, and Willis the Word Master is also going to be joining me live from Kisumu County, and he's going to be teaching us about some very, very difficult words that you do not want to miss. We also have, of course, full coverage of the day's news. All right, before we get to the highlights, I'd like to introduce my guest anchor this evening. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
You look really good.
Do I? Thank you. I'd say the same about you.
Oh, thank you. So say hi to our viewers.
Hello everyone, my name is Koffi Olomide, Mr. World Kenya 2016, Mr. World Africa and Mr. World 2016 finalist.
All right, I think my work is done here. He's supposed to be the guest anchor, but he's already taking over. Are you ready to read the news for us? All right, fine. Remember, interact with us, #Friday briefing, and of course, tell me some of the questions that you'd want me to ask Kevin. He is, like he said, Mr. World Kenya 2016, and apparently you're the Africa's most desirable man, and you say that with so much pride. All right, fine. So we'll be getting to know more about him shortly, but for now, though, we begin with the highlights.
It's a big shame that while this issue happened, the police were right there watching, and they tried to calm him down instead of arresting him.
There's no running from this one, Koffi. Musician kicks up a storm by assaulting a dancer at JKIA.
Asimame, wewe usimame, tupige laini, tutaona nani atakuwa na watu wengi.
ODM reacts angrily to a Tangulas bombshell that Raila should not vie for presidency. 20 years in jail and 20 million shillings fine for ivory smuggling suspect Faisal Mohammed. And beauty contest for cows. Brookside's show and sale in Nairobi.
Well, thank you very much for joining us here on Friday Briefing. Now, commissioners of Kenya's National Electoral Body, IEBC, might be forced out of office next month to pave way for the recruitment and appointment of new commissioners if lawyers adopt the latest proposals from stakeholders. Now, the Commission on Administrative Justice Chairperson Otiende Amolo and the Council of Governors Chairperson Peter Munya today supported earlier calls that the embattled IEBC commissioners should be paid their full benefits and voluntarily exit office.
Down the road.
The Parliamentary Joint Select Committee on Electoral Reforms received submissions from the Commission on Administrative Justice, the Council of Governors, and the Center for Multi-Party Democracy. The Office of Ombudsman says Parliament can ask IEBC commissioners to voluntarily and honorably vacate office for failing to promote public confidence in the integrity of the office. Governors say commissioners should resign by end of August.
Do you hold an election with experienced commissioners who lack credibility, or do you go for those with credibility who lack experience? In our view, the latter is the lesser devil.
Our position as Council of Governors is that all these commissioners need to leave office. Not a single one of them should remain. And we think the way to do it is for them to resign, and then they should be paid their dues, compensate them for the remainder of the period they were to serve, and let them go home.
Might you be having in your custody a name or names of any official or officials within the Secretariat who have been so adversely mentioned?
In 2013, we compiled the list of all persons who had been convicted of abuse of office, in other words, corruption, for the last 10 years, and we submitted it to the IEBC. If we were requested by this committee merely to identify who are the staff members who have been adversely mentioned in official reports, we can do that and submit to the committee. That we can do.
Various stakeholders have submitted mixed proposals about the select panel that will recruit new IEBC commissioners. The Office of Ombudsman proposes a multi-agency panel, while the Council of Governors favors inclusion of nominees from coalition of political parties.
We can have a situation where we recommend 3 or 4 non-Kenyans to be part of that commission, one of whom would then chair the commission.
the IEBC commissioners should serve for such time as will permit them to oversee only one general election. The commissioners should serve on a part-time basis except for the general election year when they should be served on a full-time basis.
The date for the next election slated for August 2017 is still contentious.
To consider changing the election date will require a constitutional amendment by way of referendum. If we were to change the date, then the constitutional crisis we are talking about will worsen, because now the current commissioner's term will have expired.
A middle ground is yet to be reached on the period for determining presidential election petitions. There are those who favor extension, while others are opposed. It has also been proposed that vetting of members of the IEBC Secretariat who have been adversely mentioned in any official report should be fast-tracked to determine their suitability. Pressure is mounting for the IEBC team led by Isaac Hassan to voluntarily go home. But as the standoff continues, another concern that is emerging is whether the election date should be extended or not. Patrick Kamimo, KTN News, Nairobi.
To some politics now. Police in Kakamega County had a hard time preventing ODM and Jubilee supporters from clashing in Mumias town as a group of youth attempted to disrupt ODM leader Raila Odinga's last day rally in Western Kenya. Now, when Raila finally held his last rally, his allies stole into court co-principal Moses Wetangula over his statement that Raila Odinga should not be in the race for the presidency next year. Duncan Haimba has been on Raila's campaign trail in Western and now reports.
It's turning chaotic here, and this is what we are witnessing. This is what is going on in Mumias. These were the scenes that marked ODM party's final day in Western Kenya. ODM youth engaging a section of Jubilee supporters who had attempted to block the road, demanding that Raila Odinga explains what led to the near collapse of Mumias Sugar Company. A matter ODM supporters could not take lightly, and for nearly half an hour, Shivale was a no-go zone. As police watched strategically, and Odinga continued with his first meeting in Matungu constituency. Odinga, who eventually arrived in Mumias town, held 3 rallies in Shianda, Mumias town and Musanda, where he accused Mumias East Member of Parliament Benjamin Washiali of mobilizing Jubilee youth to disrupt ODM rallies.
Alafu umetoa urongo mtupu walikuwa wanaeleza ati Raila ako na deni ya Mumias Sugar Company ya shilingi milioni 300 ambaye anakataa kulipa. Kijana Washiali, alafu huyu kijana anaitwa Rashid.
Odinga asked his supporters not to be hoodwinked by Jubilee wing, which he claimed is part of the reason there is an economic crisis in Western region.
Viwanda zingine ambazo zina compete na Mumias hapa kuleta miwa kama West Kenya. Wale West Kenya ni wakina nani? Tunajua wakina West Kenya ni nani? Tunajua? Alafu pande hii anakuja hapa ati bilioni 2 atikuvuta Mumias.
Other leaders took issue with CORD co-principal and Bungoma Senator Moses Wetangula over his remarks in an exclusive interview with KTN News that Raila Odinga should forget contesting the presidency on CORD ticket.
Niliona jana mwenzetu akiongea kwa TV. Sisi hatuna problem na CORD, lakini sisi kama wana ODM, msimamo yetu ni wewe Raila Amolo Odinga kuwa rais katika 2017. Kama kuna mwingine anasema umezeeka ushanguka mara 3, watu wameanguka mara mingi. Na hiyo tunatabiri ya kwamba utapita.
Siasa ya biashara tuachane nayo. Siasa ya ukora tuachane nayo. Siasa ya matanga tuachane nayo. Siasa ya tumbo tuachane nayo. Siasa ya kuongea uongo tuachane nayo.
Odinga once again called for 6-piece voting in favor of ODM during next year's general election.
Wameshindwa kusimamia uchumi sawa sawa. Wameshindwa? Wameshindwa hawajashindwa? Wameshindwa, sasa wanatafuta udhuru. Sasa mjue ya kwamba Jubilee wako katika kipindi cha lala salama.
Kura yangu ya upresident itaenda kwa Raila Amolo Odinga.
MCS from Kakamega County Assembly defected to ODM at the rally in Mumias town as ODM declared it will employ every trick in the book to repulse Jubilee from its traditional political bedrock, Western Kenya. ODM party leader Raila Odinga wound up his 5-day tour in Western here in Mumias by calling upon area residents to shun other parties and overwhelmingly vote for ODM in 2017, even as he maintains, despite being given a clean bill of health, IBC chairman Isaac Hassan will not preside over the 2017 polls. Duncan Hemba, KTN News in Mumias Town, Kakamega County.
Now, people in central Kenya are said to be fond of their potatoes. However, a new push is underway to put fish on the menu of central Kenya citizens to help them get vital nutrients from the white meat. Well, KTN's Carol Derry tells us what the Smart Fish campaign is all about.
Walk around in, say, Nyeri town looking for a restaurant that sells fish. Chances are that you won't find the fish you're craving. Most restaurants will serve the more common beef stew or perhaps chicken. The Smart Fish campaign is out to entice the people of central Kenya and enlighten them on the numerous benefits of fish consumption. The campaign is managed by the Indian Ocean Commission, funded by the European Union and co-implemented by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. They set base in Nyeri and their first stop of the 5-day tour was at Moiga. At first, people just milled about uncertain of what was going on. But the moment Susan Jerry, a nutritionist and a fish farmer, took out her cooking gear ready to wow them with a number of simple fish recipes, that set the curious onlookers in motion. Admittedly, most confessing that fish is somewhat an alien concept in this region, and many do not know anything about preparing fish or of its numerous benefits, such as omega-3 oils that are particularly good for growing children.
Kienda mahali ka town labda upate mjaruo ndio anapika, lakini Wakikuyu sana sana wajui.
On Susan's table is a display of fish products including fish sausages that are not available in many outlets, fish balls, full fish and other basic ingredients.
It's quite interesting to come across fish sausages. As you can see, I have never seen fish sausages myself.
So I looked at how can I add value to my fish for me to have a better niche in it. And we came up with doing fish sausages. And the most exciting bit is that these fish sausages, I've also done my own organically grown herbs, so I can give them flavor.
Cooking goes on for a while as Susan whips out a number of ways to prepare the fish. And as the crowd patiently looks on, soon it is ready and they too can partake in the sampling of the now ready fish.
We were in Nyanza province, for example, where we were pushing for a better hygiene during fish consumption and processing. Now we are in Nyeri and we have been in Uganda, we have been in Tanzania.
They are, however, being encouraged to set up fish ponds on their farms and raise the fish to sell as a viable business. Carol Derry, KTN News, Nyeri County.
Now today, Kenyans rose up in outrage against musician Koffi Olomide, who shocked the nation by viciously kicking a woman in his entourage in the full glare of cameras at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. Anger and condemnation greeted that video that went viral soon after the incident, and not even an attempt by Koffi to play down the assault could quench the wrath of Kenyans, some of whom demanded that he be immediately sent back to his home country. Members of the Kenyan National Assembly have also reacted with anger to Koffi's actions. Well, we will be having that story soon after we take this break. Don't go away. Friday Briefing continues. International Airport. Anger and condemnation greeted the video that went viral soon after the incident, and not even an attempt by Koffi to play down the assault could quench the wrath of Kenyans, some of whom demanded that he be immediately sent back to his home country. Well, members of the Kenyan National Assembly have also reacted with anger to Koffi's actions. Well, KTN's Timothy Otieno brings us the actions of the man now being referred to as Koffi Olomide.
In his trademark brightly colored jumper, dark glasses and cape, Koffi Olomide, real name Antoine Christophe Mumba, would jet into the country 20 minutes past 6 a.m. Friday morning. He looked every inch the flamboyant character he's known to be, but what he did minutes before he addressed the media upon arrival is what has sparked a countrywide outrage. In the full glare of cameras, the 60-year-old musician took to his group of dancers and violently kicked one of them in her stomach. Watch this again. The onlooking police at the airport did nothing more than try to calm the maestro down. Apparently, Koffi is believed to have been defending one of his longtime dancers, Cindy, said to be his wife. But the selfie hitmaker may not be new to such violence and controversies. Apparently, in August of 2012, he was given a 3-month suspended prison sentence for assaulting his producer. Earlier on in February that year, a French prosecutor charged the Congolese music star with 3 counts of rape and illegal confinement after complaints from 3 of his backup dancers. In 2013, the artist was arrested in Zambia on suspicion of assault. But this JKIA incident triggered a Twitter avalanche of anger as Kenyans demanded an apology from the musician who is preparing to perform at the Bomas of Kenya on Saturday.
That is a shame. That is a total shame.
And not even legislators from the 11th Parliament would spare the man whose actions now threaten to smear the fame from the more than 20 albums he's made.
Kama inawezekana, pasipoti yake iweze kuchukuliwa. Tunataka kuombwa msamaha kwa sababu amefanya kitendo cha aibu hapa nchini Kenya na hatutanyamaza.
Koffi Olomide should be in prison at the moment. He should be taken to police cells. He should be charged of violence against women.
Hours after the incident, the artist posted a Facebook video in which he appears talking in French with a woman he claims to be the one he kicked. The video, mostly recorded in French, would however have a caption that read in part, 1,000 apologies for this gesture.
The girls are excited, they fight in Nairobi. They love so much Kenya. They love
The multiple award-winning singer who began his career in the early 1980s will spend 4 nights in Kenya entertaining his fans, most of whom criticized his character on social media as one of a man who could see his star fading over the incident. Timothy Otieno, KTN News.
All right, quite unfortunate, and that is the basis of our big question this evening, and we want to hear your thoughts on it. We're asking you, do you believe Koffi's excuse that he was trying to defend the female dancer from another attacker? Do you believe Koffi's excuse that he was trying to defend the female dancer from another attacker? That's what he has come out to say, but would like to hear your thoughts on it. You've seen the clip and would like to hear what you have to say in regards to that. Tweet me, #Friday Briefing, or you can also just text us. The number to use is 22155. I'll be taking a look at your responses shortly. All right, now Kenya has convicted a top wildlife crime suspect who featured among Interpol's most wanted environmental fugitives in 2014. Faisal Mohammed Ali has been slapped with 20 years imprisonment in addition to a 20 million shilling fine. The landmark ruling was delivered this afternoon in Mombasa, with his 4 co-accused walking to freedom after they were absolved of the charges. Well, KTN's Coast reporter Francis Ontomwa has the details.
accused person is sentenced to 20 years imprisonment. In addition, he shall pay a fine of 20 million. He has a right of appeal.
A declaration that will now seal the fate of a man that has walked the corridors of justice for close to 2 years. Faisal Mohammed Ali, described by the media as the Ivory Kingpin, was today jailed for a period of 20 years with a fine of 20 million shillings. Close relatives and friends shocked to a degree.
In order to bring to an end the mass massacre of elephants, the courts must keep away those who encourage this heinous crime by encouraging the trade.
The sentence was delivered in an open court at Kenya Wildlife Service offices at Bamburi in Mombasa. In the final analysis, it was joy for Faisal's 4 co-accused who were found not guilty. The 4 are Abdullah Halim Sadiq, Galib Sadiq, Pravaz Nur Mohammed, and Abdul Majid Ibrahim.
Wallahi, I'm very, very happy. It was a burden I've been carrying for the last 2.5 years, and now I feel very light.
Tunashukuru Mungu. Mungu ni mkubwa.
However, while the 4 and their lawyers sighed in relief, Faisal's lawyer Gikandi Ngibwini was planning another round of battle.
The judgment clearly is not supported by the evidence, and therefore, straight away, we are filing an appeal.
The 413 pieces of ivory seized at a yard in Mombasa Studa Estate on June 2nd, 2014 will still be displayed at the KWS offices Bamburi, even on Judgment Day. The trial of his co-defendants began in June 2014 upon their arrest in Mombasa that year. But Faisal's case began on Christmas Eve after his arrest in Tanzania by Interpol officers supported by Kenya and Tanzanian police officers.
Faisal has been treated to a serious discrimination. It is a disaster, considered as a disgrace when an accused person can openly feel discriminated.
It gives a message: if you participate in wildlife crime, we shall get you and shall jail you.
The trial has been characterized by several delays, loss of court exhibits, destruction of scene of crime, and withdrawal of a magistrate. For the prosecution side, it's a bittersweet narrative for failing to convict the 4.
We are pleasantly shocked that out of the 6 accused persons, we only managed to secure conviction against 1.
Even as the judgment was delivered, police misconduct and court intimidation was cited strongly by the magistrate. 3 magistrates have so far handled the case since it came up. The 20-year sentencing of Faisal Mohammed Ali to the eyes of anti-poaching crusaders is a huge stride in curbing wildlife-related crimes in Kenya. Francis Ontomwa, KTN News at the Kenya Wildlife Services, Mombasa.
Now, as the curtain closes on the UNCTAD conference in Nairobi, many Kenyans can begin to take stock of just what hosting the conference in Nairobi meant to their businesses and livelihoods. And with the next major conference barely a month away, there are some in Nairobi who are faced with the choice of adapting to technology or dying off as the city grapples with virtual clampdown during each conference. Take a look.
UNCTAD or UNCTAD are just some of the various ways Kenyans have been pronouncing the name of just concluded United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. And though it was said that the country at large would benefit immensely from hosting the conference, for many having the conference in town has meant quite a headache. In the Nairobi Central Business District, roads surrounding the Kenyatta International Convention Center were closed off, some even barricaded, allowing only a chosen few to access the area. The existence of this exclusion zone and the surrounding pedestrianized zone created what many termed as a traffic gridlock from hell. Movement, transport and logistics were very heavily affected, not to mention those who ply their trade within this area. Take these taxi drivers for example.
Mbona hii kila mtu akuja hapa mkubwa ni lazima barabara za Kenya zifungwe. Uhuru akienda huko majuu zifungwa. Kutoka summit ianze unapata job imepungua. Juu unapata watu wengi wanadecide kuja nini? Kuja miguu.
For these guys who ply their taxi businesses the old-fashioned way, out on the street, life has been hard these past few days. Over the past 24 months, Kenya has been hosting several international events, one after the other, and is hoped to continue with this trend. But even as thousands of delegates flock into our city, what can be done to ensure operations run smoothly? The answer, it seems, is both proper planning and technology.
Improvement in planning can really help, so that you can think about all stakeholders and what this means to them. Perhaps if you did so, then you would not host the conference at KICC, for example. Maybe you would go to the UN instead, or maybe you go outside Nairobi.
In the recent past, Kenya's traditional taxi space has been hit hard by technology with the emergence of new applications like Uber, Easy Taxi and Little Cabs that enabled users to access taxi services at their own convenience and affordably.
The customer of today expects more, because if your taxi is not clean, if it's old, I'm not going to use it.
What most are unaware of is the latest entrant into the space, Take a Taxi, that allows companies, associations and individuals to seamlessly connect to taxi drivers. Ashley Mazuri, KTN News.
All right, so we want to have some breaking news, and let's now take you to news that is coming in from Munich in Germany, where gunmen went on a shooting rampage in a shopping mall in the southern German city, killing and wounding many people. It is not yet clear how many people have been killed, but police say the shooters have been neutralized, though it is suspected one shooter may have gotten away. Authorities evacuated people from the Olympia Mall, but many others were hiding inside. The Bavarian Interior Ministry said 3 people were dead, but it is feared that the number could be higher. It was not immediately clear who carried out the attack, which took place a week after an axe-wielding teenager went on a rampage on a German train. Munich transport authorities said they had halted several buses, trains and tram lines. The shopping center is next to the Munich Olympic Stadium, where the Palestinian militant group Black September took 11 Israeli athletes hostage and eventually killed them during the 1972 Olympic Games. The incidents in Germany follow an attack in Nice, France on Bastille Day, in which a Tunisian drove a truck into crowds, killing 84. Islamic State also claimed responsibility for that attack. Of course, that breaking news from Munich in Germany, where gunmen went on a shooting rampage in a shopping mall in the southern German city, killing and wounding many people. Now, like I mentioned, it is not yet clear how many people have been killed, but police say the shooters have been neutralized, though it is suspected one shooter may have gotten away. Authorities evacuated people from the Olympia Mall, but many others were hiding inside. The Bavarian Interior Ministry said 3 people were dead, but it is feared that the number could be higher. It was not immediately clear who carried out the attack, which took place after, a week after an axe-wielding teenager went on a rampage on a German train. Munich transport authorities said they had halted several buses, trains and tram lines. The shopping center is next to the Munich Olympic Stadium, where the Palestinian militant group Black September took 11 Israeli athletes hostage and eventually killed them during the 1972 Olympic Games. The incidents in Germany follow an attack in Nice, France on Bastille Day, in which a Tunisian drove a truck into crowds, killing 84 people. Islamic State also claimed responsibility for that attack. All right, so we will keep you updating on anything else that develops in regards to that shooting in Germany throughout a Friday briefing this evening. For now, though, like you said, it's time now to have our guest anchor. Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
So when we started, you're already taking over the show. Like, good evening, welcome, I'm Mr. World Kenya.
You need to
all right, just turn your seat a bit so that there you go.
This side?
Yeah,
okay.
There. So, Mr. World Kenya, and apparently you're Africa's most desirable. You even want to finish the sentence. Goodness. So talk to us about that. What does this mean to you?
Oh, it means a whole lot, considering the fact that I was the only African who made it in the top 10 in the Mr. World competition.
Wow.
And then making history in Kenya, being the only Kenyan model who made it that far. It means a whole lot to me, to be honest.
Wow. And so talk to us about, the event that took place, was it 2 days ago?
Yes, 2 days ago.
And, you came fourth.
Yes.
Talk to us about that. How was it? I mean, we usually see this, pageantries, they're usually very, very grand.
Mm-hmm.
So from, where you come from, of course, in Kenya, in Africa, like you mentioned, being, one of the top, actually the only one you mentioned, how was it being in that stage?
To be honest, at first I was really, really skeptical about it because I was thinking I'm not going to get the attention considering the fact that the Mr. World Kenya has not been recognized over the years.
Yes.
But also, on the contrary, that also pushed me to even work even harder to be the reason as to why the Mr. Kenya is going to be recognized.
Okay.
So that pushed me harder to go and work as hard as I did, and by God's grace I made it to the top 5.
So how was the contest? Because we know how the Miss World Kenya or even Miss World is usually it's very crazy. For men, is it different? Are you guys calmer? Because for women it's like, where's my flat iron? Where's my makeup artist?
The pressure is still
talk
the same.
to us about the pressure. How is that?
At first, it was my first time going to London, so the culture shock was an issue for me at first.
Right.
The
accent?
The accent being so different.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you feeling today? But with time, I got used to it. Interacting with people from different parts of the world. We all became a multicultural family at the end of the day. But also, I'll tell you for a fact that also men have their own pressure that they deal with.
Talk to us about them. I don't know them.
For the Mr. World, there was a schedule that we had to follow all the time, especially you had to be in a specific time at a specific place, and British people are really, really keen on time.
Of course.
Even if you're a minute late.
There's no African timing.
There's no African timing in Britain. If they call you for a meeting at 7 o'clock, be there 5 minutes before 7 o'clock.
All right.
Yes.
And how did this all start? Did you always wanted to pursue a modeling career? Was it by accident?
No, it wasn't really by accident. At the beginning, I wanted to be a baker when I was still a baby.
A baker?
Yes.
Like cakes and stuff?
Yes. When I was about 8 years old. So I transitioned into that and I wanted to become a footballer. Then my interest just changed and I ventured into modeling. I started modeling when I was crowned Mr. Catholic University.
So how did you know, how about I start this? Was it like people were like, hey, Shkevo?
Yes, that was also a few of the factors. My mom kept on pushing me all the time.
Right.
Kevin, you just can't waste your looks like that. Do something.
Your mom?
Yes.
Your mom is pretty cool.
She is, she is. So that's where my journey started after I was crowned Mr. Catholic University. Then it became a journey. Then I was told about the Mr. World Kenya. One time I was doing a show for the Samantha's Bridal Wedding Expo. I met a very good friend of mine I was modeling with. Her name is Margaret Mushemi. So she told me about the auditions for the Mr. Kenya that were happening at the Uhuru Gardens. So by God's grace I went, they loved me, and for that I had to win at my county level. I'm from Siaya, so I had to win at my county level.
Yeah, I heard you speaking some serious Luo.
Yes, I embrace it. I am Luo,
yeah.
So after that I won from my county level, and when you win at your county level, automatically you get nominated to take part in the main competition, which is the Mr. World Kenya, the national competition.
Yeah.
And by God's grace, again, I triumphed, and that's how I got to represent my country on the international platform.
All right, that's great. But then the other thing is, so you're just 21.
I'm turning 21 in October.
So you're actually 20.
I'm actually 20 as we speak.
So when did you do all these things?
It's been a good 2 years, considering
you don't actually act like a 20-year-old.
Do I? How old do I act?
I mean, you carry yourself, very, very maturely.
Really?
I've seen interviews that you've done. I've read, things that you've said. I mean, what do you allude that to?
I think
you've grown up too fast.
The people I've been interacting with, I guess. You need to surround yourself with the people you really admire. I had to change my circle. I had to hang around with people that I was really looking up to, and I guess with that, it's been an experience for me, and I'm trying to emulate those people that I really look up to, and I can say those people are the ones who've really contributed to the person that I am.
So what does that mean? Like, you had to change your circle of friends and the people you used to hang around with. What sort of people did you used to hang around with, and what did you change to?
You see, when I was young and reckless, I really had no goals, no priorities in life. When you were thinking going out for parties and attending every party, going for this and that, changing girls, that was,
so you used to do that?
Yes, I was when I was young and reckless.
When you were young.
Yes.
Well, young and reckless.
Young
like
and
you
reckless.
mentioned.
But I grew over that. I can say I'm a man now, and I look at life from a different perspective.
At just 21. All right,
just 21.
I think that's a really
20
great...
actually.
20?
Yes.
I can't even wrap my head around you being 20. But I mean, you've really been able to achieve so much. Okay, so, I mean, what do you want to do with this, with this title? What is it that, what are the causes that you want to go after?
I had mentioned earlier in an interview I was in before, I've been a victim of emasculation as a boy child myself.
Really?
And yes. I felt neglected in a way, especially the fact that they really didn't recognize I'm Mr. World Kenya being in existence. So I had to work with Miss World everywhere I go just to kind of mirror the relevance that she was getting and also make myself feel relevant.
Right.
So that really gave me that drive to work even harder and be the reason as to why the boy child is going to be recognized and be significant in the society.
So you'll be doing something to do with the boy child.
I'm planning to amalgamate and work with misters from all over Africa, being the Mr. World Africa, and we see how we can make the boy child feel more accepted.
All right. Yeah. So I was, researching about you, and one of the other things that really struck me was that you are actually a staunch Christian.
Very much so.
You used to fast, and like you mentioned to me before we started the show, that you used to wake up, and you actually wake up every day at 3 a.m. to pray.
To pray, dedicated.
Talk to us about that, because that is really shocking. Because somebody would say, like, with such a title, you'd expect something else, But I mean, you come across as, like I mentioned, someone who's really centered on something, and it's such a solid culture, so to speak, that you have. Talk to us about that. How important is Christianity to you?
It's very much important, and I guess that also came by the people that I'm surrounding myself with. Having my mom at the side, a special woman in my heart, Terry Mungai. She's also a believer of God. So these are the people who keep pushing me and telling me that, Kevin, these things that are happening in your life are not just as a result of your own hard work. You need to dedicate everything you do to the Lord Jesus Christ. And yeah, I've done that, and I can see my life is really going the direction that I've really expected it to go. And I'm grateful to God. Each day I wake up at 3 a.m. just to give glory and thanks to God and dedicate the whole day to God.
Wow. So let's talk about the fasting. So you're fasting specifically for the pageant?
Yes, I was. I was fasting my main reason for fasting was to be the one to make history.
Wow.
Not particularly winning the title, but just making history, putting Kenya on the world map, because it's never been done before. So that was a really, really, really major prayer item for me, and I couldn't do it by myself. My mom helped me do it. Mrs. Terry Mungai helped me do it. Robert Burali, who's my mentor, my icon, someone I look up to, helped me do it. And yeah, this is the end result.
Okay, so you've mentioned that, like some very serious people as your mentors. What are you going to do to help other young men who are now looking up to you as, wow, Kevin Odor has been able to achieve something. I also want to achieve something. How will you do that?
First of all, it's all about goal setting. You need to have your priorities straight, set your goals, and just work at it wholeheartedly, approach it, go for it, and pray about it. Trust me, it's going to work. It's worked for me. Why not work for you?
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you dating? Because that's the other thing that, quite a number of people are asking.
No, not for now. Right now I'm trying to build the foundation in my life, which is really, really the core. And I'm trying to get a solid foundation so that I can provide for the people I'm going to accommodate, i.e. my girlfriend, and hopefully, God willing, the kids that I'm going to have in the future.
Wow.
I want to give them a better life than the life I've had myself.
Did you have a struggle, when you were growing up?
Struggle, no. My parents have been very supportive. My siblings are very, very supportive in each and everything that I've done. They've pushed me to where I am right now. So it's been all rosy for me, to be honest.
All right, that's great. So I want you actually to just, say a word to, to the young people who are looking out up to you right now, because, young people right now really crave for somebody, to tell them something that is, positive and encourage them. So I want to give you that opportunity, being a young person, 20 years. I mean, I'm sure there's so many people who are watching you and they can relate with you. So there's a camera. I want you to look at, before you read the news for us, and try to take my job.
Okay, no problem.
All right.
For you out there, I just want to let you know that you can do it. It's all about self-belief, self-drive, and having that motivation. Do not let anyone bring you down and tell you that you cannot do it. Once you decide that this particular thing is what that you want to achieve in life, go at it wholeheartedly, and trust me, you will do it. I did it myself. Why not you?
Wow, I like that. So let's go to the news desk because it's time for you to try steal my job.
Wow.
I won't let you anyway. So I want you to have a seat there. So apparently I hear you also sing. Is that true?
Sing in the shower, yes.
Oh, in the shower. You do poetry?
Yeah, poetry once in a while.
Can you do something for us?
I can just give you a snippet of what I did.
No problem, anything.
It's this is a poem it's a spoken word about a man and his idols. It simply talks about not looking up to very much your idols because sometimes they may mislead you. So people triumph in the fact that slavery is dead, but last time I checked is to change clothes instead. And so casinos, malls, strip clubs, looking like modern day temples, acting like we're self-sufficient, so we make ourselves central, but we're slaves to things, possessions, and screens, slaves to money, which is why no one lives within the means. Broken, hopeless, spiritually homeless, but we keep going with on the lives as if no one seems to notice. How well is that working for you? Are you satisfied, bro? You got joy? How does it feel chasing stuff that's always a little faster than you? How come the image you used to stare at years ago doesn't even register anymore? I mean, the biggest lie in the world is I'd be satisfied if I just have a little more. So we're addicted to sex. We're addicted to power. We call ourselves men, but really we're just cowards. Because the apple looks sweet, but then it turns sour. How come every time we buy into an idol, we're the ones that get devoured? I mean, you say you're not a slave, but here's something to chew. You ever wonder why pictures of naked girls got so much power over you? But here's a question. What if kids acted realistic about what they wanted to be when they grow up? So at birth, they show up and say, hey, mom, at age 11, I want to become a slave. I want to make porn my slave master and then die in that grave. And by 16, I want to be so wrapped up in what the others say about me in school that I'll do anything just once they'll tell me that I'm cool. And at college, I want to worship at the altar of sex, not caring about treating a girl right, just caring about what girl is next. And then I'll graduate, get married, and get a job and start to save, treat my job like my wife and treat my wife like my slave. I mean, comfort, power, sex, alcohol, religion, pleasure, all good things unless turned into an ultimate thing. Because the problem isn't what you do, but that your heart needs to be made new. Because if you don't crush your idols, then your idols will crush you.
Why?
Yes. What do you think about that?
Wow. I mean, that's really powerful.
Thank you.
Wow. really.
Thanks a lot.
I almost brought tears to my eyes.
Really?
Really powerful. No, really. I mean,
Thank
it's spoken about very important issues that affect very many young men and women too.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, you're such
I was a victim of that as well. That's why.
Victim of what?
Being oppressed, and I was looking up to my idols so much until I got that self-drive and started doing things my own way.
Your own way, which is very important.
Yeah,
wow.
Which is very important.
Kevin, you're such an inspiration. All right,
you know
what? Before we turn this show into a motivational, show, I want you to try it, and I think you'd actually ace it. I'll give you 10 out of 10 before that.
Okay, yeah.
So this is the camera 2.
Okay.
You can see it clearly.
Yes,
so of course, introduce yourself and take it away and enjoy it.
My name is Kevin Owiti, Mr. World Kenya 2016, and I'm about to take Betty Chalu's job right now. A unique beauty pageant was held today for cows. Yes, you heard that right. A beauty contest for cows. And should you be skeptical type that is already thinking of smelly animals with wrinkles and mud on their bodies, just watch me following story by Lofty Matambo.
Cow number 1, number 2, 3, and 4. Cows of the Ganzi breed ready to showcase exactly what their keepers gave them. Yes, the others, straight legs, nice smiling face and a smooth skin that will make them be crowned Miss Dairy Cow for this year. The judges are well aware of the aspects they will look into when the cows start to square it out competitively. Just like a beauty contest for humans, the cows will walk in front of the onlookers and judges. There's no chance for the faint-hearted, as the assistants will do anything to get to the top of the prize. According to the judges, legs formation is paramount here. A cow with rickets will earn minimal marks. Other classes that participated include the 3 daughters from the same father. Here, the 3 cows must look alike and have the best of the best traits, including splendid face. Other breeds present were Jersey and all-purpose cows.
Ng'ombe wote ni wazuri, ilikuwa vigumu sana kuamua yupi atashinda na yupi atakuwa kwanza na wenye watafuata. Wote ni wazuri.
And finally, the winner of the highly contested category of the Ganzi was announced. the owner from Agricultural Development Corporation of Kitale was given the crown, a red crown different from numbers 2, 3 and 4. According to the judges, cow number J40 is the most beautiful, and to add some cream on the cake, it produces 48 liters of milk a day. The most beautiful cow went home with the crown. Now tomorrow on the same ground, it will be the turn for the goats and sheep to show what they have as far as their finesse is concerned. Lofty Matambo, KTN News, Nairobi.
All right, so those are beautiful cows, right? And it was so appropriate for you to read because it's all about, a beauty contest. Okay, well, I'm going to rate you, and honestly speaking, I'm going to give you a 9 out of 10.
9, really?
Yes, because if I give you a 10 out of 10, it's just like saying, you know what, we kind of like need a replacement back here on Friday briefing, but he did really well.
Thank you very much.
And I think actually, if you get tired of modeling, I think you could come here.
Multi-hyphenate.
Yeah,
I can work on this.
I think so. I think you can. I think you got it.
Thank you very much.
All right, so
join us shortly. We'll be having a commercial break and business news coming shortly with, who is it?
Joy Doreen Bera.
Yes, Joy Doreen Bera.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Bera. Areas with high dairy and other livestock potential like Eldoret, Nyandara, Meru, Sotik and Kabete are set to benefit from a government initiative to build liquid nitrogen plants aimed at improving semen storage. While Kenya's livestock breeding appears to be a step ahead of its East African peers, there still are strides yet to be made in growing productivity. This is according to Deputy President William Ruto, who spoke to me earlier on the sidelines of the Brookside Breeders' Show.
Agriculture, they say, is the backbone of Kenya's and generally most African economies. But this industry faces a plethora of challenges. One of them is the fact that the agriculture industry is being left behind when it comes to technological advancements.
Cooling plants are only in select areas in this country. And then even when they collect the milk, they take time to pay the farmer, depending on which arrangement you have with the farmer.
So I asked the Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture, Willie Bett, what exactly the government is doing to improve this.
Through a government project, we are changing the kind of vaccine to fight foot and mouth from water-based to oil-based. In this case, what is going to happen is we will make the vaccination cheaper for the farmer.
Over 1,000 breeders, traders and exhibitors convened here at the Jamhuri Park grounds to pick lessons from the Breeders' Show that is geared towards helping agriculturalists or dairy farmers to improve their productivity as well as their production. And what stood out here was the fact that the Deputy President talked about embryo transfer technologies to help these farmers improve their produce.
Interventions that we have carried out as government. One is to increase the number of available havers around the country. We have the bull station in Kabete. The government has put 500 million shillings to set up another bull station in Kitale. That should be operational by the end of the year. That will move the number of straws available for our farmers from about 900,000 a year to about 2 million.
Going forward, it remains to be seen how farmers as well as breeders are going to be able to tackle these challenges and whether or not the government is going to be able to provide the necessary support for these farmers to improve their produce. Joy Doreen Bera, KTN News.
And that was earlier at the Brookside Breeders' Show. But still, with the same story, the Brookside Breeders' Show and Sale entered day 2 today with a call to farmers and to the youth to cash in on agriculture as a business. Exhibitors and judges from as far as New Zealand brought colour to an event that aims to not only encourage the breeding of the best livestock, but also breed the next generation of young Kenyan farmers.
On the second day of the Brookside Breeders' Show and Sale, farmers and exhibitors alike put their best foot forward, parading some of their best breeds and products for the inquisitive members of the public who came to learn, and the judges.
There's a lot of information around here. I am personally even planning come back with goggles and be able to go around. I need some information myself.
The show provided the largest ever parade of quality stocks in Kenya, judged by renowned international animal judges that had been brought in to by the show sponsor to judge.
So whenever there are such shows going on, what happens is this so-called club or society gets in touch with the club on the other side of the world and put together a few names to invite to select judges, and it is from here that we get judges from around the world coming to.
With the average age of the Kenyan farmer way above 60, the youth were also a focal point for the show, with large numbers of them taken through lessons in husbandry, feed preparation, clean milking, and stock pen practices.
Nikirudi shule nitasema nitakuwa na ubunifu mwingi ya kujua hata nikimaliza shule kasa hii niko form 4 nitaweza kuendeleza na maisha yangu vizuri. Si lazima ati nililai na kuandikwa. Kazi ni mingi, nimeona watu, kilimo bado itakuwa biashara na inasaidia watu wengi.
Tomorrow, Saturday marks the last day of the Brookside Breeders Show and Sell and is largely dedicated to families, with parents urged to bring in their kids in an effort to interest them in animal husbandry and grow tomorrow's livestock farmers. Philip Keitany, KTN News.
Thanks, Philip. Now, African governments should focus on growing new revenue sources to finance their development, such as remittances, public-private partnerships, while enhancing a clampdown on illicit financial flows. Apart from financial flows, this year's UNCTAD finds that Africa's external debt ratios may appear manageable, but African governments must take action to prevent rapid debt growth from becoming a crisis, as experienced in the late 1980s and 1990s. At least $600 billion will be needed each year to meet the Sustainable Development Goals in Africa. This report, which is subtitled Debt Dynamics and Development Finance in Africa, adds that this amount equates to roughly a third of countries' gross national income. Official development aid and external debt are unlikely to cover these needs, the report also finds. Now on to some good news for women entrepreneurs now, as Trademark East Africa and International Trade Center signed a $500,000 memorandum of understanding that will support 800 women-owned SMEs to access international markets. According to the TMEA phase, or the Trademark East Africa phase, the program is targeting to support about 1 million more women, and the partners pledged to work to improve export opportunities for women's enterprise in East Africa and strengthen the capacity of institutions and associations to effectively support women entrepreneurs. The move comes days after the International Trade Center, ITC, and Barclays Bank of Kenya unveiled their She Trade campaign that targets to empower local women in Kenya. And Kabati Pork Chama or Investment Group has bagged the top prize of 5 million shillings in the Unitas Top Chama competition that was organized to identify innovative and potentially scalable business ideas. Speaking at an event to celebrate the top 5 participating Chama finalists and to showcase their journeys, Unitas noted that it had worked to ensure financial stability amongst its members and within Chamas in particular. The company has created a reality show that enables self-help and investment groups or Chamas gather lessons and solidify their business plans in a bid to have them convert from informal groups to registered and formal investment groups.
We are feeling great, ambapo hii pesa written here 5 million about tumewin. We are going to invest it in the manner that we said in the program, that we are going to build a pork processing plant. Hatuja change our mind. It's there, it's real. We have to do it.
Going forward, we're planning to make it bigger and even better. We're likely to have auditions that are going to be devolved. You realize that this time around we only had all the auditions in Nairobi, but we are planning to devolve the auditions in future so that we can be able to give more Kenyans the opportunity to get involved in this process. You realize that there were many Kenyans who may not have been able to participate because of having to come to Nairobi, but they were really very much interested, and we'll be giving them an opportunity by devolving this to exactly where they are in the local levels. And we're going to make it much more bigger, and it's going to be much more beneficial and even much more entertaining for that matter.
And that's it for KTN Business on this Friday. For more business, log on to our website, ktnnews.com. My name is Joy Doreen Bira. Coming up next is Mind Your Language with Willis, the Wordmaster, and a little later we'll have sports with Moses Wahisi.
All right, thank you, Joy, for that. We continue with Friday Briefing, and like she mentioned, it's now time for us to learn some proper English pronunciations. So let me bring in Willis, the Wordmaster. Hi, Willis, how are you doing?
Fine, thanks, Betty. You look cool.
Consciously. Consciously. Conscientiously. Conscientially. Hey. Conscientiously. Yeah. Hallelujah. Conscientiously. 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 Concentration. Concentration. Consistency. Consistency. Consciously. Consciously.
Conscientiously.
Consciously. Consciously. Consciously.
Consciously. Consciously. Consciously.
Conscientiously. Conscientiously. Conscientiously.
Constitutionally. Constitutionally. Constitutionally.
Okay. Willis, how are you? I mean, I'm so shocked to hear the pronunciations. Willis, I'm saying that name, that word, it's too hard. It's too hard.
Well, Betty, you remember when we dealt with pulchritudinous, it was another one on the streets. But also this word, you see, these are multisyllabic words with, multiple syllables. Very tricky.
Very
now,
tricky.
You can remember even the time after promulgation, if you can remember, there were consensusly, conscientiously, consensusly, all versions of pronunciations, Betty. But the correct or acceptable pronunciation of this word is conscientiously. Conscientiously.
Okay, so let me try. Conscientiously. Conscientiously, right?
There you are.
Okay.
There you are.
Not too hard, Willis. But those ones on the street, I'll have to watch that clip again later and just have another laugh. Okay, Willis, so...
I know.
Let's continue, Willis, and on to our second word. I'll spell this one out because I'm also not sure about it. A-W-R-Y.
Oh, you say alright. Alright, and luckily, Betty, I realized my cameraman, Mboro, is like he's coordinating with you up there very well. I think the word you are talking about, Mboro is giving me this word.
Yeah.
Is this the word?
Yes, it is.
Okay, you say alright. Alright, and Mboro, please keep it up. Just connect or coordinate with our Nairobi people so that when Betty asks the questions, people can also see the spelling of the words. Betty, we say alright.
Oh, Willis, that's lovely. That's lovely. I like that. But, I've always thought that it's Ori. Like things went Ori. So it's alright.
Betty, I once told you that sometimes we think that we are right or we are getting it right, without knowing
Yeah.
that that is not the way, and sometimes innocently, because that is what lands on our innocent ears locally or when we were in school, college, and all that.
Okay, Willis, I like that. Hiya, sawa. Alright, got it. Let's move on. Alright. Let's move on to the other word. Pigeon. How do we go about that one? Surprise us.
Well, I believe you are talking about this word. That's why I love this cameraman in Kisumu, Moro. We say pigeon.
Huh?
Pigeon. You know, locally, you'd hear of pigeon because of the G-E-O-N. But believe you me, Betty, there is no other pronunciation for this word that would be called correct or acceptable apart from pigeon. You say pigeon, not pigeon. Just like P-I-D-G-I-N for the language, like in West Africa or Nigeria for that matter.
Yeah.
You say pigeon for the bird and pigeon for the language.
Okay, so that's a surprise, Willis. That's another third surprise. Pigeon. I mean, I've always known it's pigeon, like pigeons. Okay, pigeon it is, Willis. Pigeon it is. Your surprises, man. Hiya. You know, Willis, they say, Kizungu ilikuja na melis. And tonight, honestly.
And I said we should say, Kiingereza kilikuja kwa meli. Kama ni kujaribu Kiswahili kidogo tu dadangu.
Okay, Willis, sawa. Nimeacha. I think I'm not doing too well also in Swahili. Sawa. Hiya. Let's continue to the next word. Realms. How do we say that one?
Well, we are talking about this word, Betty, and we don't say realms, and all that. We also don't say realms, like when we're talking about papers, we say realms of power,
Okay.
Only letter A is silent. So you say realms of power, not reams, R-E-A-M-S, reams. That is about papers.
Okay. Well, Willis, thank you so much for that. That's another surprise. I think today umeamua it's going to be hot. Haya, sawa. Let's continue. Moving on to the next word, Willis. Squirrel. I mean, this is another word that, you hear people saying it and you're like, hi, is that correct? Talk to us about that.
Betty, that animal is squirrel. That E takes the weak vowel sound O. Roll, not rel. Squirrel. Just like quarrel, not quarrel. We say squirrel and quarrel, not rel. There you are.
Go. Moving on. E-L-I-T-E. You hear of elite. How do we say it?
Betty, we say elite. But remember, you can also say elite, as an alternative pronunciation of this word. You say elite or elite. What we should avoid is elite or elite. Light, no. Lead. Elite or elite.
Hey.
So light, no.
Okay, another surprise, Willis. Just continue dropping them. Okay, moving on to this other word. A-Q-U-E-O-U-S. We know it as aqueous. Is that correct?
No. Letter A takes its name. The name of letter A is A. So you say
aqueous. Willis?
So,
yes.
I hope you understand what I'm talking about.
Just repeat for us,
You
Willis.
say aqueous.
Aqueous.
The word is aqueous.
Aqueous.
Not aqueous, not aqueous. No, aqueous.
Okay, Willis, got it. Aqueous, it is. Another surprise. Higher. Let's continue. There's this word, matrix or matrix.
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 You say matrix.
Matrix.
What our eyes see is matrix. But you pronounce the word as matrix. This word, Betty, is it?
Yes, it is.
Matrix.
That's the one. That's the one.
Matrix.
Okay.
Not matrix.
Uh-huh.
Matrix.
Matrix.
Yes.
All right, Willis. Thank you for that.
Yes.
Let's now move on to our feedback question. And today it's a different word. It's about the conference that has been taking place here in Nairobi. And that's Winnie of KU who's asked about it. Do we say UNCTAD, UNCTAD? Do we just, say UNCTAD? How do we say it?
Betty, if you can remember when we had the GES.
Yeah.
GES, when American President, that is Obama, came to Kenya. Before that, when I talk of entrepreneur and entrepreneur, many people were like, what? What is Willis talking about? Until the time that the guests, in fact, the participants, when they came and everybody was like, entrepreneur, entrepreneur, entrepreneur. That is when people realized that it's not entrepreneur. When I talked about entrepreneur, entrepreneur, initially, it was sounding like, what is Willis talking about? Okay, now we have, this is an abbreviation for the United Nations Conference for Trade and Development, if I've gotten it right. Now here, it's an abbreviation, but it has a way of saying it. You say UNCTAD, 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 just like uncle, unction, unctuous. So we say UNCTAD even if it's an abbreviation. Just like we have also NEPAD, you have NATO, you have UNICEF, abbreviations which are said as if they are words.
All right.
The word in question for Winnie of KU and our dear viewers, we say UNCTAD, and I remember also Ahmed Salat Ali of Wajir, or Wajir, Wajir. He is called Moha Funky. He also asked me about this word. So the people of Wajir or Wajir, there you are.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Willis. Now, Willis, we want now to deal with our surprise word, but before then, let's just bring our viewers up to speed with the development that has just taken place, Willis, just for a minute. Now, we understand that Koffi Olomide has been arrested. He has been arrested after as soon as he wrapped up an interview in another TV station, and we understand that he's going to be charged for assault. That's the information that we have. Remember that, of course, like we mentioned today, Kenyans woke up in outrage against him, the musician Koffi Olomide, who shocked the nation by viciously attacking or assaulting a woman in his entourage at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. We showed you the video earlier on of him kicking the woman who's said to be his dancer, known as Pamela. And of course, later on, he came and said that he did not kick her, but he actually kicked somebody else who was trying to attack the lady, Pamela. But of course, very many Kenyans did not want to hear any of that, and we understand that he has been arrested. There were officers who were waiting for him as soon as he finished an interview at another TV station. Of course, he was arrested immediately, and he's going to be charged for assault. That's a story that we'll continue to follow up for you here on KTN News. All right, let's now go back to Willis, the word master. Willis, now, you've had so many surprises this evening, Aqueous being one of them, and Orai. Do you have any other up your sleeve?
Well, Betty, many people talk of carried or carried.
Yeah.
Which I don't know where we get all these. Of course, in the past tense or past participle of carry, we say carried. It's
carried.
Carried. Carries. Carrying. Carried.
Right.
Carried.
Carried.
And just like we don't say married or married, you say married.
Married.
That is marry, marries, marrying, married. I will give you the three words. We also have parry, parries, parrying, parried. So it's carried, married, and parried. Not carried, married, parade the way it's commonly said locally. That is the surprise word, and I remember Job Ongondo and George Simba were very particular, or they were very categorical when they talked to me about that, as well as Charles Omolo of Nairobi.
Wow.
And finally, Betty,
yes,
I have words which really confuse people.
Uh-huh.
We talk of breath. Breath, that is the upper word, breath, the noun. But when we talk of the verb, we say breathe.
Breathe.
So the upper word, breath.
Breath.
The lower one, breathe. The lower one is the verb.
All right.
The upper one is the noun. They really confuse people. And you remember when we had the same function in Kenya when people were talking about wrath, wrath, and all that. I was wondering, Betty, the upper word is reed. A reed. To lay a reed, not to lay a wreath.
Okay.
We lay a reed.
All right.
But when you cover something, you say to read. To read something in such and such a thing.
All
so
right.
with an E, say read. Without an E, we say read.
Okay.
So such words, we should be getting them right, Betty.
Thank you so much, Willis. I feel like we've had a double mind your language class. Thank you so much, Willis, the word master there. Joining us from Kisumu County with Mind Your Language. Remember, you can always catch him on his Twitter handle at Willis Ochieng1. You can interact with him and ask him all the questions that you have in regards to pronunciation. Willis, the word master there. All right, and that has been Mind Your Language right here on Friday Briefing. Remember, you can only get that kind of lesson right here on Friday Briefing every Friday. All right, so now we take a break, and my colleague Moses Wahisi is coming up. Effects of Willis with sports news. Do stay with us.
President Uhuru Kenyatta challenged Kenyan athletes who will be taking part in Rio Olympics to uphold integrity and the Kenyan traditions during this year's edition of the Olympic Games. The president flagged off the Kenyan team that will be representing the country in Brazil. Robinson Kenya was at State House and filed the following report.
Show that we can win clean. And even if we don't, we shall be clean and we shall compete fairly.
That was the message from President Uhuru Kenyatta as he flagged off the Kenyan team that will be taking part in Rio Olympics next month. Arguably the most successful country in track events in the world, blessings from the highest office in the country were in order as Kenya seeks to perform better than the last edition of the Olympics in London.
We hope our anthem will be played time and time again, and we will all be united behind you. We will pray for you, we will cheer you on, and wish you the best as you tell the world the beautiful story of Kenya, the land of joyful, determined, hardworking, and without a doubt, very proud people.
The doping cloud that has tainted the image of the nation.
These people don't need drugs, they don't need to be doped to win. They can win. And we know they can win.
We are ready to be tested. We are open. We have nothing to hide. And so far, we have more than 400 tests which have been carried.
With Kenya having topped the medals table at the World Championships in Beijing last year, the Kenyan athletes are promising a similar show at the Olympics.
Tough, nothing comes easy, and I know we have to work hard to be determined because there is a lot of challenge ahead.
Definitely our first target is to be in the medal bracket, and we are going to try and do that.
The first batch of the athletes to depart the country for Brazil will leave the country on the 24th of July. With only 11 medals during the 2012 edition of the London Olympics, it's the hope and expectations of Kenyans that the team that has been flagged here will deliver more in Rio. Robinson Okenye, KTN Sports.
Much thanks, Robinson Kenya, for that piece. Now, while the youth and Commonwealth youth champion Kumari Taki added yet another medal to his collection on Thursday when he claimed the men's 1500 meters title at the World Under-20 Championships in Poland. Taki clocked 3 minutes 48.63 seconds to secure gold for Team Kenya in what others are now calling the Taki dive.
Up to the line. Men's 1500 meters final. Away they go, and Likely to be a little surge in the opening couple of 100 metres, and you can see Taki and Ramsden there having a right battle. It's Taki into the home straight, and look at Tolosa, the Ethiopian. Can he haul him back? Taki is going to take it. Tolosa finishing strong. Taki all the way to the line. He falls over the line, but Taki, what a finish. Will take the gold, will he, with that? What a dramatic finish to the 1,500 metres. Taki put everything into it, but Tolosa came with an explosive finish, an extraordinary end, but Taki takes gold for Kenya, 3:48.63. What an extraordinary race in the 1,500 metres, and Kumari Taki, the winner in Kali, in the under-18 championships, the winner again now in Bydgoszcz at under-20 level.
An impressive performance by the 17-year-old, and we still wish all the other under-20 youths taking part in that championship all the best. Now to matters soccer and to the Kenyan Premier League. This weekend being week 19 of action, many soccer lovers in the country will be eager to see if BMA and Tusker will maintain their slothing tempo and extend their lead at the summit of the table, or fizzle as the struggling Gor Mahia, second place on the log, tries to catch up. Mathare United split points with AFC Leopards last weekend and will have a very, very important chance to make amends against struggling Thika United. Mathare United will, however, be without influential midfielder Eric Johanna, who has been invited for trials at Swedish club Ike Football. Chemelil Sugar on the other side will play Kakamega Homeboys in a Western derby, while Western Stima will host Posta Rangers. Big Cat FC Leopards takes Sony Sugar on Saturday before Sunday ties that sees Gor Mahia coach Marcelo Ferreira, after dropping 4 points in 2 games, line his charges up against City Stars. Bottom place of Parker will be up against Tusker, while Ulinzi Stars host Ushuru FC. Now, reigning Olympic 5,000 and 10,000 meters champion Mo Farah said that he is well aware of the threat posed by his Kenyan rivals just weeks ahead of the Rio Olympics. Speaking in London ahead of his 5,000 meters Diamond League race, the 32-year-old Briton said that dopers, on the other hand, should be properly dealt with.
I don't see anything bad and negative in our sports, because like myself and Hussein and the rest of us, we work so hard, and yeah, something happens and it takes away from the whole line. So nobody wants to see it, but we've got to do what's right, and we just have to leave it to the government and the people who their job is to, you know, to make a fair sport.
I'm all for it, you know what I mean? Because as I said, rules are rules, and the doping violation in track and field is getting really bad. So if you feel like you need to make a statement, and this is how you feel like you need to make a statement, then thumbs up. If you're cheating, I always feel like it's a good message to show that, listen, if you cheat or if you go against the rules, then we're going to take serious action. This will scare a lot of people, or send a strong message to let you know that the sport is serious. We want to clean the sports up, so I definitely think so.
Now, Luis Enrique held a press conference, the first of the new season, shortly after Barcelona's training session. The manager, at the start of his third season at the helm of Barcelona, said that Barca wants to fight for all the titles available and entertain the Barca fans around the world.
Enrique led his Barcelona squad in this second day of pre-season training on Thursday and also faced the media for the first time since the end of last season. Amongst the major talking points was the international retirement of Lionel Messi. Enrique, however, suggested that he wouldn't be surprised to see a change of heart from the star forward.
As Barca coach, it wouldn't affect us at all. Less games for him to play, as well as less trips. I wouldn't say it is a perfect situation, but at least it would allow the player not to be too stressed. Those were words that Leo Messi said during a difficult moment after losing a final game. Time will tell whether he will decide to continue with his national team or not. As a football fan, I would like to continue watching Messi playing with the national team. But as Barca coach, and selfishly thinking in what is best for me, I am open to any possibility.
The Catalan Giants may soon have a new teammate for Messi to play alongside, Enrique confirming the club are looking for reinforcements in attack.
It is true, we are looking for a forward. We need another one to reinforce ourselves. Of course, there are many forwards who want to come to Barcelona. Some of them we have ruled out already because of their price tag. And surely some of them think it will be difficult for them to get minutes to play. What we want to be sure of is that the forward we acquire will really want to join the team and wear the Barcelona shirt, and that he will think he will add to the team, and the level of effectiveness will dictate how much he will play.
The La Liga champions play their first pre-season game on July the 30th.
Now, on Thursday, Chris Froome extended his overall Tour de France lead by winning an uphill time trial. But in today's action, Frenchman Romain Bardet won stage 19, while Chris Froome recovered from a crash to maintain his overall lead. Here's some of that action. Kenyan bomb Chris Froome actually is on the verge of defending that title, and just maybe is going to win it again in a row. Now, PSV Eindhoven defeated Portugal giants FC Porto 3-0 in a pre-season friendly match at the Netherlands. It was Philip Koku's 5th victory in 6 friendly matches as they prepare to start the new season.
PSV Eindhoven and FC Porto continued their pre-season preparations with a friendly match in Arnhem, the Dutch champions up against the Portuguese giants. It was Porto who started brightly, as Marcano got on the end of a cross by João Teixeira, but his header was saved by Tsut. Porto faded after that as PSV improved, and the Dutch team opened the scoring, Davy Proper netting the first goal. PSV was smiling 10 minutes later at Porto's expense as Felipe put the ball into his own net, his header flying past his keeper, José Sá. It was a lot tighter in the second half as the coaches rang the changes. However, PSV found another gear to rise to. Gaston Pereiro beat the defence and Adam Maher supplied the finish. 3-0 the final score as Philip Koku's troops claimed another pre-season victory.
Now, Nico Rosberg of Germany ended the opening day of practice for the Hungarian Grand Prix fastest after the Mercedes teammate Lewis Hamilton of Great Britain crashed out of the event. The world champion and leader, fresh from signing a 2-year contract extension, keeping him at the Mercedes until 2018, lapped the 4.3 kilometers Hungarian near Betfred in 1 minute 20.435 seconds in the afternoon after having gone second quickest time in the morning. Hamilton bidding to seize the championship lead for the first time this season with an unprecedented 5th win in Hungary was 5th after crashing out with 4 laps on the board. And with that, we do wind up our day's edition of KTN Sports. My name is Moses Wahisi, but tomorrow, KTN Scoreline will also give you some more updates in what is happening around the world in matters to do with sports. Have a lovely night.
Jina langu ni Carol Nderi na hii ni KTN News.
All right, so they say good things have to come to an end, right?
Yes.
Sadly. But we really enjoyed our time here. Have you enjoyed your time here?
Of course I did.
Do you
Looking
think
forward to coming back here.
You'll
again.
come back?
Yes.
To take over.
Take over season.
All right, so let me, of course, review our big question tonight. And, of course, it was in regards to Koffi Olomide's actions today. And we had asked you, do you believe Koffi's excuse that he was actually defending the lady from another attacker? That was his defense line. Of course, quite a number of Kenyans have said, nope, that's not the truth. And we're looking at the percentages. 69% say no, that, they do not believe in his excuse. 9% say yes. Those I'm sure that they had funds. And 22% say I don't care. All right, well, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, he has allegedly been arrested. We're waiting to receive a confirmation that he has indeed been arrested. But we hear that he has been arrested after he finished an interview at another TV station. Let's wait and see if that, of course, is indeed true. What do you think of that, of his actions?
He's not a man. A true man wouldn't put his hands on a woman.
Right.
I have no respect for him for that action.
Right, and I'm sure he's lost quite a number of,
of course.
fans.
Me inclusive. I was a fan of Koffi Olomide. Now, I'm going to burn all those CDs.
All right, so thank you so much, Kevin. It's been quite an amazing time, of course, here on Friday Briefing.
Thank you for having me.
And I think all the best in your endeavors. So what are we expecting next, from you? What are we going to be hearing from you next?
Next week, probably, I'll have a few things that I'll be working on.
Right.
So you should hear from me.
Okay, fine. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching Friday Briefing. It's been quite an amazing show. Thank you to you because you made it possible. My name is Betty Kialo. Like I always say, have a great weekend. Do not do crazy things. Be responsible. Of course, don't drink and drive.
Yes.
That's very important.
Don't.
So here you have some shout-outs.
Oh yeah, I'd just like to say shout out to the government of Kenya for amalgamating with the Miss World franchise organization and for them allowing me to compete and put Kenya in the world map. It couldn't have happened without them. Siaya County, Siaya Diaspora, Mr. MCA, Honorable Abayo, and Colonel Rasanga. Thank you so much for the support I've gotten from you. It really means a lot to me. Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
so are you from Kodiaga? Someone has Mark, the director, has just said that this one is from Kodiaga. Is it true?
No.
Okay, fine. He's not, Mark, sorry. He
Sorry.
thought you were his neighbor. My director thought you were the neighbors. All right, thank you so much for watching. Keep it KTN News. Remember, this is where you get the whole story 24 hours a day. I'll see you again next week, God willing. For now, good night. I'm Betty Kialo. And you are?
Kevin Owiti, Mr. World Kenya 2016.
All right.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.